Welcome. Today we're talking about why high risk is a label, not a verdict. We have the three different people here. He calls it ops, I call it marketing. We have sales, even though not so actively anymore. And then generic me.
Does everything.
Yeah, precisely. Try a little bit of what I can figure out.
Amazing. So let's start with the first segment. In total, we have 5 segments to cover today. First segment we want to talk about is why high risk is a label, not a verdict, like you mentioned. High risk is a banking term, right? We are talking when banks are onboarding clients, they are like, okay, you're a high risk merchant or a high risk client, and you have like specific terms. But from the business industry point of view, what does it actually mean?
I would say it comes more from the card schemes. Because if you look at local payment methods, what is considered high risk in payment processing is not considered high risk in local payment methods. For example, travel, because it is facing a lot of chargebacks because of delays and cancellations. Let's see this war we have right now, or wars. They cause a lot of those issues, so that makes it high risk. But if you go to local payment methods, they see it as very low risk because they don't face as many issues in that part of the circle. But it is after that, it comes from, I would say, from what I've seen, it comes down to the MCC code. It comes down to what you would consider maybe medium risk is still considered high risk from the card scheme. Let's say it's drop shipping. Because it's physical goods, you're shipping it to the consumer directly via a fulfillment center. So depending on where you send it from, let's say you send it from China, you send it from India, that would consider it high risk. If you ship it within Europe, you can probably crawl into the low risk part of it. But if you send it from the country you're in, let's say you have a company in Denmark, you're sending it to Denmark, Sweden, and Norway, you would be low risk.
Interesting.
I categorize it in a different way. By MCC code, like Visa, Mastercard do, by chargebacks, and by reputational risk.
I would say these days it's not even chargeback, it's fraud.
Yeah, chargeback / fraud. So the MCC code is because the card schemes, they have something named HBR, high brand risk. And the HBR list includes only 4 verticals. For example, adult gambling, forex, crypto, and there was another one I forgot. But the thing is,
what I don't understand, CBD is technically high risk whether you have the fulfillment center yourself or not, and it does, as far as I know, it does require HBR, but I know it does for some, because some still register it as high risk. I talked to an acquirer the other day. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Shift4 that said that you can crawl it into low risk, but technically they will sometimes also consider it. And then you also have Clearhouse, who actually requires that fee. I don't know if they registered them, but they take the V.
Yeah. So those companies that are in those 4 or 5 segments, which are considered HBR, they are considered high risk. It doesn't matter. They're fraud, they're chargeback, it doesn't matter. Anything else is high risk. Then you have reputational risk, like, for example, CBD is very close to cannabis. So
it's very close to what you would call pharmaceutical in some way, and it's nutraceutical in another way, and then you have it goes very close to also the what you call a psychedelic effect that's in it, and that's where it becomes
even that you have all the analysis, the certificate of analysis of your products and everything. That doesn't matter. The banks don't like scandals.
Yeah.
So if you are running a CBD store and you want to sell online, be aware that you will be considered high risk, not because you are on HBR, because CBD is not explicitly on HBR, but because of the reputational risk that it,
regulatory too.
Yes,
because it changes all the time with the limits and whatnot.
AI.
It's the unknown that they don't like.
Deepfakes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Deepfakes.
AI is also a huge reputational risk because of the deepfakes. I understand that you have programmed your AI to never go out of the prompt, and you did an amazing job, but The bank doesn't know that. The bank doesn't know that, and they are not going to spend resources, money, or people to
Unless
check
you're
your
massive.
website unless you are massive.
Especially they need
They
the
make
money.
exceptions immediately.
Yeah, of course. Same as OnlyFans. I don't think they follow all the policies needed, like when monitoring, content monitoring. I don't believe that shit.
No.
And you talked about that. They also
no.
skipping
They
skipping the chargeback part now as well.
Yeah,
which
they
means,
don't, because they have been found in OnlyFans people selling illegal content,
precisely.
and they get
That's what I
caught. They get caught after
It's like
years.
Pornhub with Mastercard had a massive issue as well because.
Yep.
Yeah, porn also faces the same issues, but just in a different way, because that's about bestiality. It's about, underage and whatever. And then there's BDSM for escorting or in porn, I'm guessing as well. That also is considered too much.
Yep. And then you have the third one, that is the chargeback slash fraud. In this category, you can have the trial merchants. Trial. It's every single business. It doesn't matter what they are selling. They have a trial period. Usually, 3 days, 1 week, or 1 month per $1, and then after that, automatic subscription to $49.99.
The best ones are the ones that doesn't charge you shit, because they're not gonna.
Those are legit.
Yeah, they won't scam you. The ones with 1 or 2 or 3, they're just trying to make sure that you have money in your account, so they can charge you 70 or 50 or 60 or whatever. Yeah, I remember.
So those are very prompt to chargeback and to fraud. So banks doesn't like them. That's it. So if you fall in any of these 3 categories, you are high risk. It doesn't matter. Anything else matters. Anything else doesn't matter. Sorry.
Yeah.
You are high risk. There are different levels of risk. Yeah, you can be medium risk. You're high risk. You need a high risk.
There's only high or low risk at this point.
You need a high risk processor.
Yes.
Even if you are medium risk.
Yes, you do.
Okay, but let's talk now about if you're not massive yet, like what you can do from the start to start growing like sustainably and then become big, so you would be still high risk but still accepted by the major
accepted
players.
or growing? Because those are two different.
I would say growing, because like we know that maybe Cherry, you can also share some like real life stories from the clients that we get who've been dropped by like this mainstream processor. They come to us, like why they should come to us first, start growing, and then maybe try to go like these other processors if they're big enough.
Hey, if they come here, they're not leaving.
Well, yeah.
The thing is, every day we receive applications from someone that they
remember the one we got yesterday with the what was it? Cheater finder.
Yeah.
That one I love. That is an amazing idea.
But that personally, I consider some banks won't touch. Some banks
Because
won't
it can
touch
be invasive.
because it's invasive to your privacy. So
But it's an amazing project.
it's an amazing project. Yeah, I get it. But they are using leak information. So there are a lot of customers that comes, I got banned by Stripe, I got banned by Square, I was processing in this processor from the UK and they stole my money and run. That happens a lot.
Of course.
And the main problem for what I see is that they are not processing with people that knows about this. When a customer comes to us, we teach him, and we do our best.
I love the egos though.
Yeah, we do our best.
I've been in the business for 10 years.
I understand that you have been in the business for a lifetime. I don't care. I am in the payment processing business, and I know what the bank wants.
Is it different of being a karate champ 20 years ago and then actively being in karate now?
Yeah, precisely, like me.
Yeah, precisely.
So I understand, and I have conversations with the acquirers, account managers in the banks, and every day. So we are up to date on the requirements, on what is needed, on the new regulations. Mm-hmm. You probably check on ChatGPT. and ChatGPT will tell you whatever you want to hear. It is not a reliable source of information.
No,
In these cases. So,
it can be
if
helpful in some ways.
let's say an adult website, the law in your country doesn't say that you cannot do adult. So you are doing something legit. The law in your country doesn't force you to moderate all the content in an active way, and it doesn't force you, for now, to do KYC verification on every single content creator. That's the law of your country. That's the law of many countries. But the banks, they have different rules.
That's
they
the thing.
don't accept.
There is 3 levels. There's, government law, then there's card scheme law, and then there's acquiring law.
Yep. So you might be 100% compliant with the law of your country, or even the law of the European Union, but you need to be compliant with the acquiring rules and the card scheme rules if you want to get payment processing.
That's the hardest part.
Following the laws of your country and the European Union will make you feel safe that you are not going to jail because you are following the law.
Right.
But they won't give you payment processing. You are not.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. If you want payment processing, there are extra rules.
Yeah.
That's it.
Some of them are more lenient. Some are more, like we had one merchant that just recently got approved with different fucking terms, even though it's the same business model as the one the week before.
Where is my camera?
Your camera's over there and over
It's
there.
there. If you go to a payment processor that doesn't tells you that you need a lot of requirements, it is like that.
Don't do it.
A lot of requirements to be compliant with the card schemes and acquiring, don't go there.
It might work for a year or two, but then it's over.
Or a month.
It's too unsafe, yeah.
It's totally unsafe.
But Jerry, talk a little bit about like what are the common reasons why applications like get delayed or rejected? Like even if they come to us and we try
Slow.
to submit them,
Slow response time.
A slow response time is
it's the bank's fault, let's say, or is it?
No. It's the merchant as well.
It has been the bank fault a couple of times.
I would say, yeah, of course, but it's not what we
a couple
have.
of times also our fault. Maybe,
I would say right now it's not the same issue. I would say right now it's just slow process on the merchant side because they feel like they're busy, and then they down prioritize the payment processing part, and after that, then I don't know. I don't understand because sometimes it can be a stupid bank statement, and all they have to do is log into the bank. They can do it from the mobile. They can do it from the computer. Download it. We're done. That's it.
Yeah.
We even help them with certain things that they need, like if they want a content monitoring policy, we assist them in helping them to understand. Like I had a conversation, sorry, when I was in Denmark, he was calling me and he was talking to me about these things. And I said, there's certain things you need to consider when you not only build them, but also when you exercise these policies, but also the KYC part of them. I said, hey, you might not want to do KYC on all the majority of the users, but think this, if they do a chargeback, you're fucked because you don't theoretically know them. So I told him, hey, think limit, think gambling. They do after, let's say, 100 euros or 500 euros, they do KYC just to make sure 1000% this is the person. So card and ID and all this to make sure that you have the right user. Because if they do a chargeback, and it's very common in adult that people do chargeback because let's say the wife finds out, or I don't know, they get embarrassed, or they're just scammers. There are certain people that sign up, watch the content, leave, chargeback. But if you have the ID and you have certain information, you lock their IP, you lock their location, you have the, let's say, ID and stuff like that, you're going to win the chargeback. If it's big enough, you should fight it. If it's 5 euros, they got you by the balls because the chargeback costs 20, 25, 30 euros per time. Are you going to fight again because there's another fee to dispute it? Are you really going to fight for 5 euros that you already lost? At this point, you're in the hole.
Yeah.
So you just leave it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Dennis, can you also explain a little bit about the match list as well? What it is?
Are you hitting on me?
Oh, well. I'm close to it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. animal, what do you call it, magnetism, Ryu. So Match is a list for Mastercard, I believe it is. I think it's their list, yeah. The VMatch list. And you get there for, I think it's 6 or 7 different reasons, maybe a little more. It comes down to what it is. It can be fraud. What do you call it? Yes, it could be transaction fraud. It can be
transaction laundering.
Yeah, laundering. Yeah, but it could be. I haven't read up on it in a while, but if you get on the list, it's usually not a death blow, but it will make everything that was complicated before almost impossible now. So I would say at that point, we had one that got on Match, and that was unfairly, but it still took them, I think, 2 years to get it removed. They had to go through the court system to fight the acquirer on it.
You take 5 years to get removed from Match.
Yeah, so you can imagine the implications that this have for you and your business.
Crazy.
Because if you can't wait 2 years, you're out of business.
Yeah.
So getting on this list is for excessive. Yeah, it kind of is, and it's only for excessive of something. You did something really, 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 really bad with the card scheme. So again, you might not have violated the acquiring laws. You might not violate any national laws, but the card schemes are on your ass. So you got fined, and it starts, I think, at $25,000. And then you're there till you get the acquirer to remove it, and you can only do that via police and court system. So getting there is it's not a death sentence. There are people that will say that they will look at it depending. Let's say it was chargebacks, and you can show, hey, I've still been processing with this shithole, and my chargebacks went for 5% to 0.5, and I can show it over 6 months. They might consider you because they know getting you in is low risk now than it was, but they can also charge you higher because you are high risk. So they will make more money. And yeah, that's basically how Match works.
What are some of the things that you need to do like on a daily basis as a high risk merchant to stay compliant? Like not to get on that list, not to get banks coming to you like time to time to ask additional documents, and like what are some of the, let's say, checklists that you need to be? Of course, it maybe varies from industry to industry, but maybe some of the like, common things that let's say some of the merchants that we've been talking with in the past maybe have missed, or they're like constantly missing, that they should do to be compliant.
I would say that to be compliant, well, you have the yearly one that happens where you need to show them your passport again and bank statement, I think, and stuff like that. But I would say don't change your policies. Don't just be transparent, because there are people that, of course, get new owners or new addresses and new stuff like that. You don't want the acquirer to figure it out, because then it's a red flag. So if you change something in your company structure, that would be my first thing to say, hey, we're changing this. And if it's under 20% of ownership, for example, you don't need to give any documents or anything. But how is it? Just be transparent. Don't change anything. What was it? There was one merchant that had the payment page on another UL.
Yes. And he was accused of transaction.
Yeah.
I will say that if you go to college and you study software engineering, when you, after the 4 or 5 years, you end your career, you will have knowledge of, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, whatever, coding languages that they teach you. Okay, and probably it's the top of the top at the moment, but in 3 years, a bunch of new coding languages, a bunch of new applications, a bunch of new things will come up. And if you don't study, if you don't keep studying, if you don't keep investigating, reading, and learning every day, you will be obsolete. Same happened with a doctor. You go to college, medical school, you finish, and then, oh, I'm a doctor. No, you
gotta keep investing in your
new medicine and new procedures every day.
If you don't keep yourself sharp, you will be dull at one point.
The same happens if you are a businessman, especially in the online industries,
especially adult CBD. Some of the high risk industries, they change by vape. Look at how often vape changes their laws and the problematic discussions that happens. If you're not on top of that, you're illegal at that point. So it's not only, you're actually violating national law. For example, coming to Estonia and selling vape with taste, it's illegal. by law.
So having a vape merchant, like just to
That's
have
a hard-
us as a consultants for them.
That's a lot
it's
of
like
navigation.
insurance policy that you're paying, right?
Yes, it's a lot of navigation also for us because yes, okay, we don't necessarily actively. We're a very small team at this point, so we don't actively follow the law like that. But we get it from the partners that we have, and we try to follow it as much as we can.
Right.
But as you're the business owner, you should be the one
top of
following. Yes,
Investigating.
Yes.
It's like
you
it's
can put
like
alerts on
college.
these things with news outlets and stuff like that anyway. So
Yeah.
just say anything vape, give me an email, I'll read it.
Yeah. Is it also something that governments should like do, and like they have like some registry of businesses who are in certain industries that they like send out information about regulation
That's only in
changes?
Estonia, bro.
Oh,
I'm
I'm so
sorry.
used to that. I'm so used to that.
I don't know. Denmark might actually do similar if they change a lot. They are trying to be very vocal on it, what I've seen. But there's certain countries like Spain, I wouldn't imagine they do a lot of work to really.
No, Spain is very good free news. But
It's government owned more or less. So,
Yeah.
but then it's propaganda. It's like Russia, the Russia of Europe.
Cool. So let's.
We ended on that note.
Yeah. So let's talk also about a little bit about marketing. This is I think big topic and like something I can add on because high risk merchants also have the struggle of they're operating in a very regulated markets, which oftentimes.
CBD.
Oftentimes like those platforms, like these huge advertising platforms, Google, Meta, etc. It's very, very challenging to advertise there because they don't allow it. Also, the type of images that you put up, like adult, if anything, there's like some skin showing somewhere, it's like pop automatically.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're like really, let's say,
it's very Americanized. All the big platforms are American.
Yeah.
So they go by that PC kind of culture, where in Europe, most countries are a little more loose. So if we had our own, these massive platforms like Google and Facebook and stuff, I don't think it would be a problem.
Yeah,
but you still have to control it for the kids.
Yeah. So I would say that I was thinking about this earlier, like what would be the 4 kind of principles? And I think this is applicable for all other industries as well, but I would say high risk specifically is the 4 different strategies that I would take. First is search any type of like search what you can like improve for your company is a huge win. And I'm not talking about just Google and search optimization, because like today we're in an era where like search is not only in search engines, but it's also in social media, it's on LLMs. LLMs,
M&Ms.
Or anyway, the AI interface.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of,
Gemini,
for example, forums is massive in adult.
True.
Like XBiz, and I've seen a lot of these escorting forums and stuff. That's where they get their advertisement, and that's why it is so important, because forums has been dying across the board for a lot of things, but for adult it still stays alive because it's such a taboo still.
Yeah, and I would say with search, like people oftentimes like over, let's say, idealize that we need to get the website traffic. It's like oftentimes people search on TikTok and they get the answer on TikTok on the platform and they move on with their lives. So it's not only about like, I need to get traffic to my website. I just need to be everywhere and people are searching for me everywhere and they need to get information from those platforms.
That's also a lot of
knowledge. That's a lot of work. That's
a lot of money.
Yeah.
And not everybody starts with that. That's the sad situation that we are in sometimes, is we want to accept more people, but our partners will not help them. And we cannot help them with the traffic. So there's no way for us to assist them, in growing, which means it makes it very hard for us to say, yes, we can help you if you don't have this foundation, because there are a lot of people come in with amazing projects that just don't have any money. I know how it was when I was younger. I had all these amazing ideas, but no money.
Yeah, but for example, podcasting like we're doing right now is a very good way to generate content. And from the same podcast episode, we can repurpose the material to different channels. We can make blog posts, we can make reels, we can make newsletter, everything.
You just have to be creative, I think. Like you and me talked about it yesterday, Reddit. Could be another way. You can start a thread, you can participate in a thread. You can kind of direct the thread to where you want it. So you can get some exposure on that shit too. There's Pinterest, depending on what your business does. So there are good avenues. Twitter can still do adult, for example, if that's necessary. So there are right avenues. You just have to, like you said, look broad, not think, Facebook and Google. That's all I need, Meta and Google.
I actually wanted to say that's very interesting that you mentioned Reddit and Pinterest and other like places where you can build communities. Is that oftentimes when you can't advertise your product directly, for example, you can't do ads for, let's say, porn site, for example, you can't do it. Or same thing with like casinos. There's some let's say channels where you can do it, but most of the times you can't do it. But what you can do is you can make a community about education, about your industry, about what your product solves, the problem, and then advertise that community. And through that community, you are converting people to your service and product. And this is really, really good.
Be creative.
People do it a lot, like in what's it called? Not gambling, but it's like the finance gambling. I can't say the word. Forex, exactly. So this is very, like, oftentimes it's very regulated. It's very difficult to advertise, but what you can sell is education, like how to do it, how to like, protect your money, like how to, have a good money management, like strategies, etc. And from there, you can sell your platform.
There's another loophole that I have been trying to tell CBD people in the past. I don't know if it's still there, but hemp is legal to advertise on Google. So if your product is hemp or you have a website, you can create a secondary website for hemp products. You can do Google ads.
Yeah.
You get the traffic there. Then you can probably find a way to distribute it to your CBD or whatever website you have. That I'm known from 6 years back. I had a guy who told me, and he proved and he showed me that apparently you can do hemp ads, but not CBD or cannabis or anything like that.
It's a different keyword.
Yes, precisely. That's what I mean.
It's like the girls that they have their Instagram and they post those sexy reels and things.
Remember the reel you showed me with the hoo-ha in an image?
Yeah,
where they have like a mirror or a glass, and then they show their hoo-ha.
Yeah, so
he showed me that shit. You have to be very fast. Like you have to stop the video, then you can see the hoo-ha.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen those.
so they get traffic for their adult sites.
I think it's about playing with sexuality it's like what advertising does. Advertising and sexuality has always been massive and still is. And people looking at a half-naked girl and they think, oh, that's disgusting. Yeah, but it's working because you're thinking about it. And that's what I mean. If you do the same thing online in Twitter, Instagram, whatever you are, you can get traffic. You will get traffic. And that's why they're getting clever.
Yes.
One thing I will say though in the US that really surprised me, remember these massive OnlyFans billboards? That shit is amazing.
In Vegas.
They're buying, but I saw it in LA too.
In LA too.
Billboards from an OnlyFans model.
Right. Dude,
it's fucking ridiculous.
I saw in Caracas a billboard for a YouTube channel.
Yeah, but YouTube, that's okay. But I mean, this is adult.
Yeah.
But you can't advertise in the same way on their platforms, but you can buy a fucking billboard if you're an OnlyFans model, which is what? It's only adult content. It's not like it's Patreon, which is a little bit of everything. That to me was fucking amazing. And it's the same thing. It correlates with the point of that it's the best paid average job in the US right now. OnlyFans.
Yeah.
That's the top job to get in the US. That's fucking crazy.
I saw a girl that she made $100 million from OnlyFans in 2 years.
Jesus fucking
$100 million.
The redhead?
100 million.
Yeah. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I wish.
I want to say one more thing about marketing is it is very easy actually, and in that sense that if your product is really good, if people are referring it to other friends, then this is like a really, really good source where you can gain more customers in the high risk or actually in any type of business.
Yes.
And people oftentimes miss this, like why people are referring. They always think that, I need to have like really high incentives for people refer. Like I need to pay them that they will get more people here. But oftentimes, people refer their friends because they want to do something good for their friend because they really like the service themselves, or they think that it will be very useful for that person that they're referring to. So I think it's like a thing that every business owner should do is how can I make it more easier, like stupid easy for my
current customers
to refer other customers. Yes.
I think it is that MLM kind of part, because in MLM, you're more aggressive because you want to make money and you want to sell these products. But if you make it in a nice way where you think, hey, You can even incentivize it with coupons, or you can say you get this off your next product, or you can even say, hey, you can earn a token or whatever towards your next purchase. If you're that, you're clever if you do that, because you get them to come back by themselves, but they're also referring people to come to you.
Yeah, there was a really interesting study done. I think it was in Harvard or Cambridge. I don't remember any like of the big universities where they like really looked into the psychology of people like referring. And the interesting thing they found was that people made twice as more referrals than when the incentive was on the side of the person who's coming to the service, not vice versa, that you get something out of it. So I'm going to refer
so you give 20% to the next one.
Exactly. So I will give you the cannabis oil and you will get it cheaper, and I get nothing, but I give you something. So instead of me getting like cheaper my next order.
If you look at people, and I met a lot of people, I've never seen people think, I'm so happy for the next guy that comes. I always see people, because it's the same thing in Denmark. When you refer somebody to your phone company, you get something. Yeah. So that's why you do it. But for them to come in, because I know that they always run these new ads, because every year there's somebody who gets a new discount because they come in and you're like, fuck this. I bought it for this. Like I have with Rocket League, I bought it for 50 euros back in the day. Now it's free. I'm not happy for the fuckers that came in after. But I don't know. Maybe it's a survey that people, they click, I want to look like I look good. I think you maybe if you can incentivize 10 and 10, I think that would be strong.
I'm still mad that I bought Rocket League.
That's what I'm saying.
Fall Guys.
Yeah,
and then they became free after a while, and I was like, what the hell?
Maybe you can incentivize both people. So that person that comes, because then you can go on and say, hey, you get 10% for this product. Yeah. But then you know in your deep self, I get 10% too.
Yeah. I think like a lot of companies do it, like especially like in the finance. Like I think Revolut does something similar, that you get your friend, you get something, and they will also get something. And like investment companies do it quite a lot. That you refer a friend, they will get like 10 euros worth of whatever Bitcoin on their account or something, and you also get it when they try and make their first deposit or so on.
Yeah.
But this is like a really big assumption that your product is actually really good and your customers really love it. Because if your product is bad, then I'm sorry, no marketing will ever fix that.
Yeah, but there is that when I go to a pizza place and I love the pizza, I'm going to refer it irregardless of me getting something. So I think if the product and the service is good, you don't necessarily have to give anything. I think it's a good thing to do because it shows that you're considerate of that process. But if your service is good, your product is good, people will refer. But if you want to speed it up, incentivize.
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, if you have more questions about marketing, I'm happy to talk about it and make like a separate episode just talk about marketing. I'm really passionate about it. But let's talk about. No, but let's talk about like if you're scaling and like your attraction is good, you're getting a lot of customers, your revenues are growing. Of course, there's like this nerve in your body, like, oh crap, maybe my processor is gonna shut me down, or I'm like growing too fast. They're gonna ask questions like where this money is coming.
And it does happen, and it might happen. It might happen. It causes a lot of issues.
If you have, for example, more than 100 chargebacks in 1 month.
But it's not only about that. It's just if somebody comes in from 0 to 100 and you only estimated 20, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a massive problem.
You're growing so fast.
The
bank will think you're money laundering.
Yeah, but not only that, they will also think, fuck, we were not prepared for this. What if it did? Because I've tried this with the one acquirer we used to work with, and this person came in and was only supposed to do 50 max, and I think he did like 500.
Yeah.
And then he left. And he wrote on his website, I'm sorry, our business closed. If you want to do chargebacks on this acquirer, blah, 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 blah. They left with the money.
Wow.
So the acquirer took all the shit that came from that. And we were all surprised because...
I know that acquirer.
The acquirer told us way too late, and we were like, okay, we're going to reach out to them. We tried our best to get them, but scammers are scammers, so they were never going to respond to us or them. They wanted the money and they ran.
So what are some of the strategies that you can mitigate this thing happening? Like I've heard this like multi acquiring or like setups that you can use, for example, multi-currencies, like you send the money everywhere, like kind of divide it.
And also chargeback prevention tools and RDRs from Visa.
Yeah, but if you also can prove that your customer support is good, like you have phone support, you have email support, and you're actually responsive, then I think it will mitigate, of course, the worry of an acquirer. But also if you have chargeback prevention, you might have fraud but like let's say Count, for example, they have.
Yes.
If you have all these things implemented, I highly doubt it. I think that out of 10, it would be 0 that has all of that, and I also think out of 1 to 10, it would be 1 that would scale to that extent, and it would be within an industry like dropshipping where they just can get all the traffic easily everywhere.
Yeah.
That's one of the industries that can do it. Adult will not be doing that. It's impossible unless you are doing something wrong. And I would say in CBD, it's also impossible because there is no traffic for them. Everybody's doing SEO. So you have to know, influencers, or you have to know forums or other platforms or avenues of marketing.
Yeah. An adult platform that is selling 500,000 euros a month, they won't run away because to reach the 500,000 euros a month, it took them a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it took a lot of time or it was fast.
Nutraceutical.
It took a lot of effort.
Nutraceutical could also do it, and that's another risk.
Yes.
But I would say with VAMP these days, it's very hard to do recurring. So it's very hard to get people in because they won't get recurring. They will get straight sale. If you get straight sale, I would say the worry is a lot less because usually the recurring part is where people think, I forgot I have it. But if you have Netflix, you're like, fuck, that's a brand I know. Fuck it. It's what I pay like 15 euros a month or maybe 20 euros. Yeah, you're like, you don't give a shit.
For example, OnlyFans, they're having an issue right now because after the CEO died, some other people took over. These new people noticed that they were selling. They were losing sales
because of chargeback.
Because of the chargeback, the RDRs. The RDRs is the rapid dispute resolution system from Visa.
It's so stupid. It doesn't even make them more money.
Automatically make a refund if a customer wants to do a chargeback. This way they avoid the chargeback. But they noticed that a lot of people were doing it because they were getting their money back so easy. So they stopped doing the RDRs.
Imagine how profitable
suddenly
that company is.
Their chargeback radius went.
Yeah, but imagine how profitable that fucking company is. Why do you need more money? I just saw that Oracle fired 30,000 people and they don't even need to. It's crazy.
Epic Games fire 5,000 people.
Jesus, it's like greed on greed, man.
Yep.
So let's say that in industries where you have the highly scalable, let's say, landscape where you can like just put money in your paid ads and grow fast, and you start like getting a lot of money, then oftentimes people get like, let's say, greedy, and they're not going to invest into building their infrastructure, into investing into the compliance team, and they just want to print more money, and this is where that bad.
I would say one of the things also is what with Trial, for example, back in the day. Those things were very scalable because you did affiliate traffic and you could almost buy unlimited. If your campaign converts better than everybody else, the publishers would follow you like a fly on a shit. But it's very complicated because I think if somebody grows a lot bigger than what you estimated, there's something wrong. I would say that if you're one of the lucky that you just got lucky, like let's say another site closed, you get the traffic because it was number 2, or maybe you just poof, I don't know what can happen with that. But if you grow overnight, which you can do, it's very unlikely. It will still take a lenient period. But let's say you do, then you probably need to consider that the acquirer will ask questions because why? Because they also ask, why did you dip?
Right.
So they will also ask, why did you grow? So you need to consider that there will be questions, and maybe it's good to prepare that if you grow too fast, that is not a negative for you, but it can be a negative for the acquirer because they don't know you. If you're new, if you've been there for 2 years and you only done 5,000 a month and now you're at 200,000, for sure, even then they will ask because it's too rapid of a growth. So you have to probably...
I agree with most of the people that these rules are stupid. But
depending on which,
most of them. But
I think the chargeback ratio
they are there
is ridiculous.
because there have been issues.
Yeah,
those rules weren't created out of thin air just to fuck you up. Those rules were created to solve a problem.
Not always. I think the problem sometimes they're also solving is greed. Because Visa and Mastercard are greedy as fuck. Setting up the fees and lowering the chargeback rates. Dude, it's 1 in 100 less now. Less than 1 in 100. If one person does a chargeback, he fucks you. Literally. It's ridiculous. how are you going to manage this? You're okay, a lot of people can do it, but then you invite all these other systems in. And again, who owns those systems? Visa and Mastercard.
Yes.
So they benefit again.
Yeah. Visa owns the Verify.
Verify, yeah. Ethica is Mastercard.
Mastercard owns Ethica.
That's why,
which are the systems to prevent the chargebacks.
That's why bank to bank is amazing. There's no chargebacks. There's no rolling reserve. You're paid instantly. There's local payment methods that's circumventing that shit too, because you go bank to bank. If we operate in that, fuck Visa and Mastercard. Seriously. Yeah. They are getting so greedy and they're putting in tools like RDRs, which is amazing. But why do you need an RDR? Because they forced the threshold down.
Okay, guys, let's do a quick wrap up and let's have like some closing statements and advice that we want to share with some of the high risk merchants that are listening and our clients and what we have learned. Like Jerry, what would be like your takeaway and one piece of advice that you would like to share?
Yeah, Jerry, tell us.
Yeah, come to us. Come to us. Come to Fasto. We will keep you updated on everything.
And we got your back.
Yeah.
Your camera's over there.
My camera
I think she has it in the middle.
But it's not red. Now
I think it's
red.
in the middle. Yeah.
The producer is sleeping.
She's editing.
Yeah, she's playing with the cell phone.
Tinder.
Oh my God.
I got a match.
The thing is, come to Fasto. We will help you. We'll keep you updated the best we can. Yeah, it's not only to get approved, to get payment processing, it's to keep you processing.
Right? Yep.
Because that's the important part.
Of course.
It's not only getting approved for processing, it's staying processing.
If you have a good business model, you're going to get approved either way.
Yep.
Dennis, something from you? One piece of advice.
Stay knowledgeable. It's your business. We shouldn't have to tell you anything. Literally.
We shouldn't.
We shouldn't have to be your babysitter.
But we do it because we love our customers.
Yeah, but what I always say is this. We don't work for you. We work with you. We're your partners. We're not your slaves. So you also need to stay. Like I had the hemp company in Dublin. That guy knew everything. He knew everything and what happened in CBD in his country. Because they mainly only sold in Ireland. He knew everything. I didn't have to tell him anything. But when it came to some of the part on my side, yes, okay, I have that information. But on your business, I shouldn't have to tell you, hey, you cannot sell vape there or you cannot do CBD there. It's just redundant.
Yeah, I remember having a discussion with him, and you're not gonna tell me where I'm gonna sell my stuff. I know the law. Yeah, you know it. But one thing is the law, and a different thing is the card scheme rules and the acquirer rules.
Yeah. That's the sad part is they're not aligned ever. So government law, but that's only if you want to sell in that country. If you even want to sell there, you need something else. If you can find something locally, like a bank-to-bank that follow the governing law, then you're good. But then you need to make sure, all the people that don't have, I'm guessing everybody in a modern country has a bank, but do they know how to use it or do they want to use it? That's the problem. LPMs is amazing and they're growing. They're bigger than cards in Europe, at least right now. Right. And bank-to-bank is another supplement, I would call it, an alternative. But you need them as well because most of these following the governing law, not the card scheme law. And I will say still though, some do make their own policies like, the mobile pay, the ideals and so on. They do make their own policies to navigate their license if they have one. So I always say it's just stay knowledgeable, man.
Yeah. My advice would be to look where your customers hang out and look also where your competitors hang out and try to be on those locations. Either it's conferences, either it's like themed forums, communities. Try to be knowledgeable, but also like check out what your competitors doing and where your customers actually hang out in the space. It's not only like advertising on Meta and Google. There's so many other places. All right, so let's wrap it up. Like was said before by Jerry and Dennis here, we are from PayFasto. No, I didn't say that. So come to us if you have any questions. We understand your industry and we would love to work with you.